Good morning, everybody. It is Writer Wednesday. Here we are yet again. This is also week one of the crazy school situation, so good luck with all of this. We're going to probably be hearing children obnoxiously, goodness knows doing what in the other room. So, welcome to real life. All right, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about launch anxiety. I know a lot of people, when they're getting ready to do their launches, they don't really think so much about how stressful it actually is once you get there. And one of the biggest things for me that is the biggest stress is when I have a lot of stuff coming at me all at once. So let me just give an example. Yesterday was very stressful. We had three of our kids going to distance learning yesterday, each of them in a different school doing different things, each of them needing something because something was not working properly. And then on the other hand, we had the 5-year-old going to kindergarten. And so we had right at the same time as they're starting, we had kindergarten conferences. Come home and everybody needed something. And I still had work to do, things to take care of, all sorts of things. And it's like, oh my God. Had I had my launch yesterday, I would have been probably like bald and under a bed crying. I don't know. It was crazy day as it was. And originally the launch day was going to be yesterday. So I am so glad that that got changed. It's now a week later and hopefully next week will be a little bit less stressful. We'll see. But all of those things kind of came together and it was making me think about the concept of how do we handle launches? And this is something that was planned for a while. Hey, David, good to see you. So I was thinking about like if I get stressed and a little bit anxious, which I'm not normally a super anxiety driven person, but if I get it, more than likely other people are getting it too. So hopefully we can talk about it. So hey, David, let me ask you that question since you're here. Did you get stressed out when you were getting your book ready to launch? Was that something that you were concerned about at all? Let me know what you were thinking. But for me, I think when it comes to everything, making sure that the launch goes smoothly, it really comes down to making sure that you're prepared in advance before anything else starts. So you want to have your idea of what successful launch looks like before you go into it. I am so sorry that people are loud in this house. It is just one of those days that people just don't understand. So being prepared, we might end up having to move this time frame too if children are remaining to be home taught, distance taught, and are really loud and obnoxious in the morning. We might have to change this to an afternoon. So FYI on that. David, if an afternoon works better for you, let me know because I would love to be able to move it into a little bit quieter of a time frame. All right, so preparation. What do you have to get prepared for? It all depends on your launch, really, and quite honestly. There's so many things that are going on or can go on, but not all of them have to happen for a launch. So things like listing, you're going to have a lot more prepared in advance. You have so many newsletter swaps, all the stuff going on. You're going to have the concept of getting ads in place. You're going to have other people that are going to be talking about it. There could be tours that are going on. So many things that have to get kind of set up and put in place. If you're going to have ARC copies that go to the media, for instance, all of those things have to happen in a certain amount of time and you can't rush those things, unfortunately. Okay, David said, yes, it was. I believe I rushed it. I guess I was really excited and wasn't really ready. I think everybody does that with their first few books. In fact, I think for my first 5 even, that's kind of how I did things. I was excited. The book was finished. It came back from the editor and it's like, why wait? Why wait? It's not like I have this super huge audience right this moment anyway, so I may as well get it out there, start getting the experience of it, and see what happens. So I totally get you, David. I think that's how all of us start. And the more your audience builds and the more your backlist builds and the more that you get experience in all the different aspects of the author platform, the easier launches get too, because then you're trying to work on other things, not just the story structure and getting the publication of it done. Now it's like, okay, I got this part. I don't have to think about it as much. Now I need to focus on other aspects of the author thing. So don't be surprised. That'll probably happen for the next couple of them because there will be just that excitement and so much that you want to get out into the world that it really It really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to wait unless you want to put a lot into your launch, or unless you have the money to put a lot into the first launches. I know I didn't. So for me, it was very much word of mouth. I had to make sure that if I was going to put a launch out there, it had to be as word of mouth as possible. It's a little bit different now, not a super ton different, but it's a little bit different. And so it helps me to be able to, so two different ways. I can't say the money situation is a super ton different. It's different, but it's not a super ton different. But really, honestly, it's the audience that I have is different. I have so many people in my audience now who I didn't have before. And that's what's really important. So keep that in mind. Okay, so thinking about that, the concept of an afternoon would be good. Great. Let me know what time, David, because then we'll switch this to an afternoon. I think that'll work a lot better for this household right now because it's just crazy. So when you think about your marketing stuff and you're trying to get your launches up and running, I want you to not just think about the launches, though. I want you to really think about consistency, because your marketing message is important to be getting out there no matter when your launch is. So, and even big names like Amy Porterfield, people who are doing like Digital Course Academy and things like that, they're talking about that because how you show up when you're not launching is really important. And when you're not launching, you're giving your audience more of yourself and who you are and kind of what you're doing in the background of the grind of being an author, or getting your books ready or the next book ready. They like that background and they like to know kind of what you're doing, I guess, a little bit. And I think the more they get to know you, the easier it becomes to know what it is that they want you to share with them. And so all of those things kind of meld together and they make a lot of sense. Hopefully that makes some sense for you as well. So when you're thinking about your launches, you're going to also want to be thinking about making sure that you can be consistent with the rest of your marketing message. And that could just be posting once a week on Facebook. It could be putting your newsletter out once a month. It could be doing Facebook Lives like Jenny and I are doing in our Facebook group. It could be in the form of all of those things. It just depends on where you're at, what your time frame allows, what your monetary budget allows. Like if you're doing Facebook ads and that's how you're one of the ways that you're getting out there, that's still marketing consistency. All of those things help in getting the message going and keeping it going and being consistent with it. Okay, 2 o'clock or something. That'll work actually really well for me, David. So let's plan. I think we'll move it to 2 o'clock and see if that works for everybody else too. I'll post a little message just saying that we're going to move it due to crazy children. Okay. So I have a lot of different, I think there's 7 tips and tricks in the podcast episode for this week. I'll give you one more. So that was 2 of them. I'll give you one more that I think is really beneficial because for me, it's the one that I'm going to be leaning on the most for this one. But it's really knowing thyself and expecting or planning for the crazy, because it will get crazy. Launch week, in my experience, if you're putting it out there and you do have promos going, let's say you have a blog tour going, anything like that, newsletter swaps, all that stuff, it's going to get a little crazy because you want to engage with the audience and you want to see what other people are thinking about the book, if they're going ahead and purchasing it, or if you have reviewers who are leaving blog post reviews or any of those things. And so it gets a little bit nuts. And sometimes if you're doing a really big launch, like I'm doing with Secret Legacy, there could be games, there could be prizes, there could be Facebook Live events that are going on, maybe pop-up stuff that's happening, whatever it might be. And so it's really important, I think, to be able to find that time for yourself, to know how you manage stress and manage the anxiety of a launch so that you can focus on how you want to show up. And that sometimes can be knowing, okay, look, I have all this stuff coming up. I need to get up a little bit earlier because I need that quiet time before children are all up getting ready for school, or I need to be able to have that quiet time in the middle of the day because I know I'm going to get stressed by 11 o'clock. So I'm going to go meditate during that time, or having a concrete plan on when you're going to work out. Because remember, working out actually decreases your stress hormone cortisol, and it increases endorphins, and it helps make you feel good. Not to mention the fact that getting away from a computer and moving your body and getting your blood flowing, all of that stuff actually is beneficial to your brain, to the rest of your body. I know I don't probably need to explain all of that, but it's very important. So remembering how you handle and cope with stress is really key, and knowing how, like, what are your coping mechanisms to make it better is super important. And like for me, I'll be probably reducing caffeine intake. It's not so bad when I'm here alone writing. But when I've got, 3 kids coming at me with different questions about why is their Chromebook not working appropriately, and then I've got clients contacting me, and I've got friends contacting me, and I've got my PA Jenny asking me questions, and then I've got the blog tour people, and it's like, oh my God, all of those things kind of add up, and it gets a little bit crazy. And so I need to know, okay, next week, how am I going to manage this a little bit better? And probably the rest of the week too, because I will tell you, I did not expect quite the level of crazy that happened yesterday morning. It was crazy. I was hiding under a rock by like 11:30. Not really a rock, but I was hiding in this room with headphones on. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. See you later. Talk to you tomorrow. But luckily they were done by that time anyway. And they were off doing their own thing, so that was helpful. All right, so I don't know if you meditate, but that's also one of the things, like I mentioned, that I do, and then I try to up my intake of water. Those are really the big things for me. So working out, meditation, water, and sleep. I don't think I mentioned sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep as well. Your brain is your biggest asset, and you can't function properly if you're getting lack of sleep. And that means that if you get less sleep than you expected, and you're going into launch, and if you have to show up in person and all, you won't show up as your best self. And that's not what you want to be doing either. And sometimes even if you're not doing it in video, sometimes it happens even in text. People will misunderstand you, or you'll say something that's maybe snappier than you would normally do. And things happen, and then people get offended, and then next thing you know, it's not a good launch at all. But know that no matter how you launch, whether you launch big, whether you launch small, launches are a big deal. And you should take the time to really enjoy them, because it's the first time you will ever launch whatever that book is. So whether it's your first book, or if it's your first book of whatever book it is, and it's in the middle of your list like mine is with Secret Legacy, the key really is to stop and take a moment and think about it and enjoy the ride a little bit, because it is such a big deal. I mean, you've put a lot of work into your books, and you've put a lot of money sometimes into your books, and a lot of hopes and dreams too. So take a little bit of time to enjoy what's working, and to know that the next time around, things will get easier. You'll get more adept at how this whole thing is managed, and you'll just do a better job. So hopefully that was helpful. I know there was a lot of background noise because a lot of people in this house just don't understand. At the one moment when it would be nice to have things quiet, they don't know how to do that. So hopefully you have a great week. David, I hope you have a good time getting your writing in. I think you're working on book 2, right? I'm pretty sure you are. So hopefully that's going well. And we will talk to you all again next week, probably at 2:00 in the afternoon. All right, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye.